I think the brevity of everything I have to say to everyone in every way forever is don't do what I say. Don't do what I do. My message is to find it within you. I have found it within me. So, as much as I may run from it or attempt to cover it up with to-do lists or chores or the requirements of everyone else, balancing the impossible. In reality, this reality, I have found the courage to face my own limitless nature. I've had the moments of enlightenment, and all that is being absolutely aware of who you are. And in that is absolute peace. And then it's not about getting back there, it's about applying that. And that's why I say separate from society, separate from the collective unconscious for a temporary period so that you can address what it is that is asking you to address. Because it's the real you that's asking you to address it so that then you can blossom. I've always been and currently extremely hesitant to give any information to anyone because I part of my base personality is I want to take care of others. I don't want to lead anyone down the wrong path. I don't want to say even 1% of one little token of something that could be wrong and then looked at like, oh, this individual's a fraud. It's not about the feedback of being a fraud. It's about accidentally doing harm to someone else when they're looking for what is within them. So I will continue to let flow through me what it is that's meant to flow. But the answer is within you. It has never not been within you. It is who you really are. It is always you. We have a fairly silly weakness that we wear as a cloak around us. And it only works because everyone around us is wearing the same silly cloak of weakness. And so we are all fitting in that way. And we're scared to show what's underneath, although what's underneath is the only real thing, the real you. That's the access to the real you. But everyone around us is wearing this khaki colored Inspector Gadget cloak. And it's just part of the attire of the masses. And so if anyone opens up their cloak and shows what's inside, then it's looked at as if it's an adult running through the streets of New York City naked. It's like, it's so true and honest and genuine that everyone around wants to point at it, don't even look at it, and arrest it and get it out of here. Put it in a cage. It's too true. lock it away. But I'm very confident that everyone that's ever existed, if they give themselves the opportunity to sit with themselves, fully know that they're running from something. And it's that not addressing whatever that little tiny molecule of opportunity is that they're running from. It's the not addressing it within themselves that keeps them holding on tight. Keep the cloak up. And as long as you have the cloak up, then you're in judgment of everything around you because you're not being true. So you're just going around middling yourself to make everyone else comfortable who's middling themselves. And I probably haven't said this before, but I apologize for using the term you because I'm not speaking to any one individual. I'm not making a judgment as if it's different from me. I'm saying it with the directive of there's the individual that has the great potential of all life sitting within it, and it is choosing not to address its true self. So its true self is sitting there waiting. And that true self is then looking at the embodiment of it, running away from it for its entire life. That embodiment is what I'm saying is you. When I'm saying you, that's the individual processing this life with every opportunity and looking at everything as if it's only exterior and then feeling a little lost inside and not knowing how to address that and running away from sitting with themselves. If you sit with yourself, everyone will find the same thing always. What I found are some nuances, maybe to the left or right, maybe above or below, but nuances that are attached to what is the true self. And they are in relation to how the true self and this place interact. If it is seen, it must have been believed. You proceed to the state of your frequency. You perceive what you believe. And this life is an opportunity to receive feedback, realize what you are, and then continually expand your belief structure with the calm, competent intent to master subject and then self. Through that process, we tend to find a guide. And as that guide finds us, or we find the guide, we will then realize it's our requirement to do this very odd or vague or difficult to put our finger on internal work. And for transparency, for me, it's currently communication. We do this internal work, which would be maybe step 2. So first, we come to an awareness that there's more going on here, and then a guide comes across our path that puts some dots in front of us, or gives us a whisper that stays with us, or literally shows us the way. And then it's always and only up to us to go do the internal work. of growing ourselves. Focus and friction, practice. And as we go through that process of internal work, we'll come across many, many trials and many synchronicities and many other potential guides. And it always ends with the realization that there is no teacher. All learning drives from within. So these guides are pointing at everything to point you back to you so that you can find the path to the real you, which is, long story short, the path of letting go of the things that you have chosen to pick up unconsciously and that are bending you out of shape. You must find the strength to loosen your internal grip and allow all the ropes that are controlling you, that you think are holding you up, but they're really bending you out of shape and controlling you. You must find the strength, the great courage. Is one of the most courageous things anyone can ever do, is find the strength within themselves to release and then continue and not run away from the releasing and go back to the default program, which most everybody does, and you just continue to work on that. I do. And so you find a guide, or you find an awareness and then a guide, step one, and then you begin and process through the internal work, step two, and then you realize that that is always only what's always been there. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's the real you. So the real you being divine, limitless spirit energy, a fractalization of the singular one love and the beyond. That which most call God is you, and beyond that. Limitless in every way. That should be enough just to comprehend. So then you are faced with the process of putting into effect the cause, which will then create the effect. And you're no longer foolish, you are holding wisdom, and then the wisdom is knowledge into gnosis and applying that gnosis efficiently and effectively, repeatedly. Wisdom is applying knowledge. That's the power, okay? So you have this awareness, you find the guide, then you do the work yourself. You go on your journey, your dark night of the soul, you're in the forest, you come out of the forest, you have your new persona, your new name, your new expanding belief structure. You have released many mind boxes and addressed many fears along the way. You've had your mind blown, you see the world completely differently, and then you realize there's just layers of worlds that are outside of you that you have adapted and brought into you, and then it's about accepting that, not freaking out about it, and letting it go until you get back to the smoothness of true competency of self, of purely self. And then also you have the opportunity to live in this wonderful existence, this realm, in this period. And so the third stage is nearly always going to be, how do I now apply this for the rest of this existence and continue to grow? That becomes self as a guide. And that is the beginning of, in my opinion, the higher end circle that continues that way instead of being on, this social norm here. You go up a little bit and it's like all like this, and then you have a God, right? And then it goes like this, and you have all the internal work you have to do, and it's like this just over and over and over until you finally go whoop, and you start going forward, and then you then become the guide. And then you're doing a bigger circle because you can dip down into what is the lower form, and you're giving your energy in and you're pulling it back out. You're giving your energy in, you're pulling it back out. So you are leading a path for others merely just by being you. We are infatuated with our growth process when we are flowers. And flowers are beautiful and lush, and not always, but usually seasonal and vibrant and vigorous. And yet they can be smashed by a little kid. They usually don't survive or don't thrive in the winter in snowy climates. They go to seed quickly. So they have short lifespans um, of reproduction, which is none of this is good or bad, but it's a very intense perspective of tightness being a flower. Some of the experiences are so tight that they grow thorns to protect themselves from being trampled or eaten by a cow or trampled by even a kitten. Flowers are delicate, but they are beautiful. That is how I see the masses, the unaware masses. They're flowers. They are perfect, just as you are perfect, just as I am perfect, just as everyone in all existence has always been, always will be perfect. And they are not stuck. And there's nothing good or bad about them. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing better about you if you've grown past that. The way I see the process is at some point, the flower gives of itself its full energy and has this greater awareness and loses fear of the winter, of for the spiritual human existence or perspective would be going into the forest and really addressing these things that no one wants to address within ourselves. And the flower sees the winter coming, accepts it, surrenders to it, and then dies off. Under the flower's death, there is a dormant seed. And the dormant seed is the real you. The dormant seed is the greater version of you, the spiritual wisdom energy that is sitting there watching you and waiting for the embodiment of you to come back, have the awareness of who you really are, and then grab the hand of the true you, which I'm still working on, and then go back into life, this existence, and live as the true you instead of the flower. And that dormant seed is given the opportunity to begin to grow purely based on the energy of the flower saying, I don't want to come back as a flower this time. I've done it a couple times. I get it. It's a wonderful existence. I love the bees. but I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get trimmed back. I'm going to get smashed. I'm going to feed some animals and I'm going to reproduce. And it's a life of great short-term pleasure and pain. And it's very, very bright. But I only exist for a short part of what all of life is. I can only see so far. I know there's more. So I'm going to give up this energy that I'm holding on to and as being a flower. I'm not going to live in fear anymore. I'm just going to let go. And when that letting go process of living as a flower resolves itself through what's considered death, other flowers from that same experience pop up all over the place. But the energy of the plant and the roots of the flower letting itself go back into the soil then turns on the process through the winter cycle to turn on the dormant seed underneath it. And that dormant seed then has the ability to get its chance in this life. And that real you is evergreen, is a redwood, is a great cypress, is a giant sequoia. And when you first begin to experience growth, it's very confusing. It's very hard to comprehend. It's impossible to explain to anyone. It's purely your experience, but many, many others have gone through the exact same experience. But it's also purely your experience. And there are no words, there is no math, there is no symbol that you can provide to somebody else and say, this is exactly what it is for me. Because it is magically, perfectly produced for you. It's a gift for you. The issue that many have is they attempt to interact with the world as if they were still a flower when they are a dormant seed that's growing a taproot and they are trying to find their way through the soil and they've been dormant for many, many lifetimes. And now they're expanding as this is their opportunity. You must choose one. You must choose a path, and the fork in the road, the yellow brick road goes like this. You must choose a path. You must choose the path of providing energy to the external world or being the hero and grabbing the hand of the real you, living as one with singular love here, now, not waiting. Because this magical realm's ready for you. It's always telling you back, but many can't see it because the collective unconscious or society or the worlds and worlds here, the information that we take in based on information, it's constantly telling us, hurry up and wait. Just wait. Just don't be you yet. Just wait. Everything's great. We respect you. Everything's okay. We're here to keep you safe. Just wait. Just don't do anything drastic. Just wait. We'll take care of you. Just wait. And so you're always not making it urgent right now to make this right now the scenario right now that you become completely committed to being the real you. Be honest with yourself. When's that going to be? It has always been that way. It will always be that way in this cycle of collective unconscious. That's how it works. It provides safety It provides information of repetition of fear. It keeps everyone on one frequency, and everyone can only see the same thing as everybody else. And then they choose a team and they see things in polarity versus each other. It's not good or bad. That's just how it functions. So its literal design is to put energy in, pull energy out, and it's the divine energy of you that's putting energy into it amongst everyone else. So that's why you have to separate so that you can see the functionality, because it's really hard to see when you're inside it. Actually, when it's inside you, it's how that functions. And so when you're going through that process, this information is coming and it's always telling you this tiny little whisper. It's not the wind of your heart, it's a tiny little whisper of like the PA system of life. We accept your internal desires. Do them tomorrow. Watch this. Screen time, entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. Guess what's coming up next? The Masters, the Super Bowl, the Oscars, the whatever, Chinese gala, whatever there is, the Olympics. There's always these very important events that are to be paid attention to. An election. There's always something to pay. Coming up next is after the commercial break. Make sure that you give your energy to us, because we serve the collective unconscious. And that's how it works. We suck your energy out and then we give you information back, and you're actually making this thing function. We're never ever going to tell you that you are the divine spirit energy that is making everything happen and that the real magical world is waiting for you, because we've lowered you down so much that you won't even believe it anyway. So what's the point? But we will always whisper to you through the PA system of life. Just wait. We honor that you have desires. We will help you achieve them. But first, you must go to religious school on this day in the morning. You must go to school this day. You have 4 sports to choose from, and you must do one in a certain way. And you must learn about computers in this method, and you must go get a job. And then when you do all those things, and you have enough money, and you have enough land, and you have enough friends, and then you've achieved enough in the social graces so somebody votes for you, then maybe you can come back to us and you have all your things checked off. Your credit score is good socially that we approve of, right? Because we're collective unconscious. We're just you. So everything's okay. Everything's okay. We're here working for you. We serve you. Wait. Just wait. We got you. Just wait. So the individual that hears that type of message thinks that they're choosing their life, but what they're really choosing is from the accidental peer pressure a multiple choice life. And through the process, they forget that they are divine, limitless spirit energy. And so they choose what the external, not the internal esoteric principles, but the external of a religion or a science or a occupation tell them. And they hear it enough, plus they hear the drumming of the repetition of fear within the collective unconscious in general, and they're in frequency with the beehive of everyone else who's attached to the same mechanism, that it's nearly impossible for them not to accept it unconsciously. Even if they don't intentionally pay attention to it, they are paying attention to others that pay attention to it. So they're still giving their energy to it. If you're going to a club and you don't like rap music, but they play rap music 95% of the time, you're still giving your energy to it. And that's not good or bad. Like, none of this is good or bad in this larger perspective. But that is, regardless of what anyone wants to feel about it, that is how it works. And so there's no reason this mechanism would ever support you in separating yourself and going and making this right now the choice to grow up and become you right now. It's only ever going to be you that does that. It's not going to be your parents. It's not going to be your friends. It's not going to be society on any level. It's against their best interest. Everything in life, including you, including I, is a self serving loop. That's not good or bad. That's how it functions. That's how energy flows. You are in charge of you. Think about it from a perspective of you watching yourself. When is it going to be okay for you to have that definitive moment? You say, I shall now begin living my life. Are you sure? Are you so sure that you've been living your life the whole time? All right. So, society within larger kind of world constructs, world being information worlds, within the overall collective unconscious, is whispering to you to wait. Okay. At some point, let's say you just choose. Say you choose right now. Say you choose, my apologies if the cigar bothers you. I dig it sometimes. Say you choose, you're going to lean in for 1 day a week to fully open up and purely just see what happens. You're going to let go of everything and just see what happens with no control. And then your expectation is, without being upset about it either way, but just your expectation is that will flow into you taking more interesting action to yourself on that day. How do you think that's going to go? In my opinion, you'll start to see some synchronicities. And then you'll start to see some very interesting ones the more you pay attention to it. And then there will be some scenarios that show up because you haven't separated yourself from the greater collective unconscious pool that may become a little drastic and try to pull you back in. And then you're at a fork in the road. You have to figure it out for yourself. And that can happen 50 times in your life. And you can just live in that limbo state, thinking that you see past things but you aren't doing anything about it. Or you can go back in and say, I want to live in the collective unconscious, safer there. So what? It doesn't change the fact that you're divine limitless spirit energy, so it's not a bad thing to live within the collective unconscious. It is kind of safer there. Or you can say, I just don't have it in me to see beyond all this and continue to lower myself for no reason. I don't know what's coming, but I'm taking a swing. And I think I'm going to keep on swinging. And that's it. That's my life now. If you do that, I promise you, that just the fact that you found that within yourself to do it, if you keep swinging, you will find what it is that you're meant to do. I promise. The reason I can promise that is because I know it's already within you, just sitting there, just like that seed. And when that seed grows, it is the weirdest thing that anyone's ever experienced. And what's interesting is I have the opportunity to see it in other people now all the time. And I can't tell them, but I can provide energy that is healing to them on the journey. Because once you decided fully to be that giant sequoia seed, that flower, the root system died. You're not that anymore. So you're either going to be a gangly ass giant sequoia that gets smashed or cut down in its first couple of years, or you're just going to lean into it and be the greatest giant sequoia you can. And some of those giant sequoias that get leaned into, they still might get chopped down. That's not a big deal because you're giving your energy exactly where you're meant to give it, exactly when you're meant to give it. So what's the big deal? There is no death, merely opportunities before. So I mean, once you let go of that, shit, everything's cool, really. So you're this dormant seed. That's the real you, and you have found the courage to let go and really find what's in you. And you found that what's in you was not ever what you were showing all along. And it was never what was in here all along. It was just this patiently waiting for you from this. And the fact that you just opened it up for just a second, some energy, some light, some frequency came out of here. And then you just kept going and you got better and better at it. And eventually, there's a prism coming out of your heart. And that prism is shining the flow down from your soul out into this world. And it's showing you the direction that you should go. Same thing for that sequoia seed. You're leaning into the soul path. As far as I know from this life, it's the coolest thing that could ever happen to anybody. And it is, in every way, the alchemical path of transmutation of energy. When you go through this very odd process of leaning in and accepting the spiritual path, and then the spiritual path allows your soul to shine through, and then you're alone. So when you separate from the collective unconscious keeps a certain standard frequency. So bad shit can happen in there, but in general, over the masses overall, yes, the news is always telling you fear, 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 fear. But in general, for the masses overall, everybody in their own indigenous or more modern cultures, whatever, is pretty much kind of taken care of as far as um, being in a standard life cycle with each other. And yet, when you completely separate to yourself over here, you are no longer protected by that same standardized frequency. So, what can happen, what usually happens is you're alone You can't explain it to anybody, and you go lower. So not only did you take this huge gamble and risk on this thing that you can't explain, but your life gets way fucking worse from the outside in. And the only choice you have is to tuck tail and run back over here and basically become like, whatever, I'm gonna pretend like that didn't happen. Or you stay over here long enough until you master a subject. When you master a subject, okay, now you're not going down anymore. Now you're at the bottom. And now you can start mastering yourself through that same principles, through the same mechanism. And that can be spoken about a lot of different ways, but I attempt to provide brevity on that subject with what you pay attention to grows. What you pay attention to grows. But if you're within the collective unconscious, you're paying attention at the same time, self-consciously and unconsciously, to different things. So the collective unconscious has basically your entire unconscious. And so you're giving all this energy, this unbelievably, immeasurably potent energy projected out through your subconscious into the collective unconscious. And yeah, I'll make some drawings of this if it benefits anyone. You're giving that very potent energy to this thing that is not trapping you, but it's a self-serving loop. So just, if you think about it in a physical sense, you must separate yourself from it, okay? You must separate yourself so that you can go through the process of learning how it is to control your own energy. And you're probably gonna fall. And then you're gonna be alone and low and in a new weird place. And that is the seed excitedly growing because it's coming to life, and then the seed growing and being like, without self-consciously knowing, the seed is just in this vast weirdness. The entirety of life is now under soil. It's in blackness. It's in a lack of control, lack of even the safety and control of the outside world. It came to life in the awareness of this deep, deep frozen cold and death. And now it's growing through the process of thawing and spring, but it's still underground. Everything is unexplainable. And that's how the fluidity of this magical realm, once you start to supposedly wake up and you really lean into it, that's what it's like. It's like you're alone. You can't say shit to anyone. And at the same time, you get all of these synchronicities along the way. Whereas somebody's whispering to you, whistling at you. This way, pal. This way. Up. This way. Up. And that's the energy of life directing the energy through the soil to the seed saying, that is up. Go taproot down, and then that is up. So taproot down, when you pull it over, is you falling and finding your bottom by yourself. And once you've done that, you've been in the forest, you've been lost. You've gone through the indigenous rites of passage. You found yourself. You know how far you can be pushed and bent without breaking. Okay, now you have a understanding, a foundation, a floor of you. And now you're beginning to comprehend your own self-control. The only way you fuck that up is by going directly back into the collective unconscious and trying to apply it there. Just don't. Just continue to live here. And you can begin to, or you will, absolutely begin to grow faster and quicker and stronger than anyone you've ever seen if you stay dedicated just to this and focused. Intention, attention, listening with your belly, not reacting, listening with your belly. Intention, attention, friction. Same process for that giant sequoia seed, same process for you as a physical embodiment living as the growth of your soul here. You hit the top of the soil, and now it's a whole new world. What is this? All of the experiences are completely different. All of them. Every experience that you have is the first experience you've ever had because now you're awake in it. And yet there's something inside you that knows I'm awake, but yet I still don't know as much as I should know. So you're constantly embraced in this yearning to learn more or see more of yourself and see more of this world, and also this trepidation. Nothing is as it seems. So what I'm describing is the same process that's always been for everyone. It's also one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why there were, and probably still are, great mystery schools for guides to not necessarily hold your hand, because that would be telling you what to do, but more point your head in the right direction and be like, check that out. And then see what you find inside you from checking that out. It's always inside you. We grow, you grow, I grow from a giant sequoia seed through our intentional and unconscious death of our life as a flower, which was wonderful. And we are letting everything go, and then we come into this new life, and now we have a strong taproot, a strong foundation, but we're still tiny. And so we're very, very vulnerable to the entirety of everything, more vulnerable than we were as a flower. And yet we also feel more empowered and strong in every way. And so we're so vulnerable, we also have to hold back from almost telling everybody around us like all the stuff we know or what we can see. Another trying process is the nuance of intelligence, of the intellect, of efficiently learning and discerning, and the gense or genre of applying the wisdom of the learning, of the discerning with care. And part of that I received from Mark Passio's natural law seminar, like 2009 or something. That's a beautiful presentation he puts on. But it takes great fortitude to stay the road when we know we've chosen the harder road and we know there's a way to go back. But we also know when we go back, the other road won't be there. And on the other road, you know what's coming. It's predictable. Everybody's supporting you. On this road, you couldn't feel more alone. Take the opportunity to allow yourself to completely let go and just be you and meditate or sit by a tree or sit by water or just sit on the couch in quiet. And have the courage to ask yourself, am I on the right path? It's usually all it takes. You will find the light in your heart. You will find a lightness of you. You'll find the peace of remembering who you are. And you may receive synchronicities that are just slapping you in the face. You're on the right path. And you chose to go right. So now what's your move? You don't have too many moves left. That's the thing, is you've played to swing and win in this chess game. You played everybody else's game of checkers and chess. And you're pretty bright, so you did all right. But there is no one who's the single master of checkers or chess. Because the game isn't built to be mastered in that way. It's built to tell you about you. It's just very few want to see that. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes a lot uncomfortable when they're in the collective unconscious to realize there's a deeper meaning to things. They get annoyed by it. I understand. I mean, I was like that at one point. It's not your job or my job to preach them, really. Because you can only guide someone who's looking for a guide. And that happens like this. It's never it happens like this and then both go this way. No, guides come into your life when you are coming into the guide's life. And then if you continue on that path, you become a guide and you show up in other people's lives. And it might be 5 minutes talking to your mailman, or it might be somebody that comes into your life for 20 years. But they're still on their own journey. What you chose by going on the right path, or depending on esoteric principles, it could be the left-hand path. Doesn't really matter. Just in general, by choosing to go in the direction that you chose, by choosing to take the hand of your higher self or the true real you, the connection of your awareness of the singular one love, God of all, that is you, and not running from that. And in doing everything you can to remember that and live as that. By choosing that, you have foregone the social graces. By doing that, you've let go of the game of checkers and chess. So you played those games. You had to play those games to be cognizant of what the interior, the esoteric meaning was. And as you have held that meaning, saying there's more to this life, and you let it go, now you're playing a greater game. Instead of being on the floor of the forest and happiness and fear, happiness and fear, happiness and fear, happiness and fear, you now went way below and you let go of the game entirely. And you found internal accomplishment and a lot of failure and a lot more things that you must let go. And then you found internal accomplishment. And then you continued on that internal accomplishment path. Internal accomplishment creates joy, not happiness, joy. There's nothing like internal accomplishment. Puts everything in perspective. You found that internal accomplishment. And once you do that, now you're beginning to live as the embodiment of what you chose, what you declared originally that you've forgotten about when you said, I'm letting go of this life as a flower. I know there is more. I'm ready for it. Now it has happened and you're doing it. And most forget that they did that. It's like, oh, I asked for this. This life really is magic. Whoa, I better stay focused on this because this is happening. And in between that period of really becoming, a 10-foot tall sequoia and the seed blooming, the seed opening, the seed cracking, the taproot, the growth process, the loss process, the hitting the sunlight. Everything around you is growing faster than you are. The grasses, the other flowers, you're just tiny little seedling. And you have to find your way by yourself. By yourself. And you just keep going. You just keep growing up no matter what. You keep growing up. You stay focused on your intention, hold your attention on your intention, listen to your belly, listen to your roots underground. Don't react scared, just listen to them and use your body in cohesion with your intention. Your intention was to live as the true you. Your body is the above ground part of you as this baby sequoia, growing, growing. I'm focused on growing. I'm focused on growing. I'm focused on growing. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I know this is what I am meant to do right now in this cycle of my life. I'm focused on growing. I'm focused on growing. You don't have to cut anything out. You just have to stay focused on that. And what comes, comes. Keep your attention on that, not the spinning conversations that are left over from when you're in the collective unconscious and you're just receiving information that doesn't feed the real you. It only feeds the outside facade of you. And that's where the ego gets tricked and messed up. The ego's doing its job. Nothing wrong with the ego. We have to have the ego. It's doing its job. You are unintentionally putting in information from a collective unconscious field and society that is to its detriment. So it's telling you all the time what you're feeding it. And you're like, oh, I'm anxious. What are you taking in? So now that you're the giant sequoia, you don't take that in anymore. You're a baby, somewhat scared giant sequoia, but you've grown past just faltering and leaning away and running and crying from scared. You're scared, so what? You keep going. You stick your heart on intention. You hold your mind, the intention of that intention. You just keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. That's the thing that you're here to do now. Now. And so you keep doing it. And one day, without expectation, without hesitation, you have found that you've literally grown past fear. And then, as you keep going, you never realized how big and strong and powerful you were. Because that dormant self of you, the real you, was the same value of energy that was being propelled out through your little world, the real you, was being propelled out into the collective unconscious field. That's where it was getting its energy from. So it's the same amount of energy that you're now growing up with. But now you're showing externally, because you're focusing on your growth, you're showing externally how powerful you actually are. And before you know it, you're dozens of times larger than everything around you. And you have proliferated others to come around you. You've made seed. You have other little giant sequoias that are growing around you, and you have thousands of flowers that come up in the spring and the summer. And they say thank you in the fall. I'll see you next spring. And they keep going. Every once in a while, one of them turns into a dormant seed, cracking and blossoming. In the end, what happens, the entire forest grows around you. You become a new forest for others to come into and find themselves. For you came out of a field of nothing, of flowers, beautiful wildflowers. And the only thing in that field was just the real you waiting under the ground. And one day you made that decision. Damn it, it's today. You never look back. And that's when the real you heard said, cool, let's go. I'm with you now. Shake my hand. I'm not going to let go. It took a long time. And it wasn't easy. And the real you would never want it to be easy, because if it was easy, there is no friction that is required in this place for growth. That's why you are here. To grow with the friction. Now you are hundreds of feet tall, and you're old, and you have raised many other sequoias around you. And there are still flowers, but there's much more wildlife that lives in your forest. The whole thing has been planned from the beginning. And there is no beginning. It's planned for the creative generative principle. It's the same growth process for everything always. And that is what most call God. And that is what you are. Stop listening to anything that isn't true to you. If you pay attention to the societies that we're offered in this world, pay real close attention. Just sit back and listen to this for a second. Is it possible that 100% of the information offered through society is to keep you from being the real you? I understand that many that are comfortable with their life choices don't want to look at that. That's not a challenge to anyone. Time is nothing. Money's not real. Yet timing can be everything. When the timing is correct for you, you have the opportunity to make a decision for you in this life. And that decision is a pivotal point of why you're here in this life. And you have the opportunity, once you become cognizant of it and you hold the awareness of it and it's vibrating within you, you have the opportunity anytime, always, to make that decision. But if you listen to society and you hurry up and wait and never actually make the decision, that's what it wants you to do so that you continue to feed your energy into it. And society feeds its energy into the collective unconscious. And that is not something to fear or be mad about. It's a safety net to get you to where you are. This place is perfect. It's put together perfect. The bad guys are only playing a part. If there was no friction of what would be considered bad versus good, it wouldn't work. It's just about making the choice that you're going to see clearly and act clearly, and having the courage to listen to your heart and never looking back. If you do that, you'll be the strongest individual you've ever met. If you don't, you'll be another fish in the net. There's no judgment either way. But I see a giant sequoia seed in everyone everywhere. The only thing that I can really control is my energy of growing my tree. For some reason, it's been clear to me that I have to speak to let some of this stuff go. Let it flow. Life is fluid. Flow with it. Get out of your own way by surrendering. Find what to surrender to by connecting with love. Find your purpose and life gets easier. Find your purpose, honor your gifts, follow your bliss. In that order. To do that, connect with love, forgive everything, forgive yourself, which is the hardest part, and then open to the imagination. And once the imagination sparks in, hold the intention of the heart on that imagination. Put the intention of the mind on the intention of the heart. Act in friction courageously. You don't need more than that. This life is waiting for you, the real you. I love you. Prima Voltus Interior.